Hey, what's going on guys? This is Hamza, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get 10% conversion rate on your email and SMS pop-up with these proven A/B tests. I'm going to show you the exact A/B tests we're running for our 7 and 8 figure clients right now, and they're getting enormous conversion rates on their pop-ups. And I'm also going to show you how we build a pop-up. We're going to upload it on Klaviyo, and then we're also going to be setting up all these A/B tests within Klaviyo so you can do it yourself like that. I'm also going to be building different variations of this pop-up so you know exactly how to A/B test them, and then we're going to upload them to Klaviyo so you can do it like that as well after watching this video. So let's get into this real quick. This is going to be a really good one. So this is what's working right now for our 7 and 8 figure clients. And if you just look at some of the pop-up conversion rates right here, this right here is an A/B test, and as you can see, 17.2% versus 10.3%, which is a big jump. And then this right here is 7.5%, 11%, 15%, and 45.5%. I'll show you why that one got 45.5%, because that's actually a little bit inflated, but I'll show you why. Anyways, let me actually show you why getting more pop-up conversion rate is so important. So if you just take a look right here, if we have two pop-ups, both with 30,000 visitors every single month, but one is converting at 5% and the other is converting at 8%, you're gonna get 1,500 emails versus 2,400 emails a month. And with these amount of extra emails, when that gets to your welcome flow, you're just gonna make a bunch more money. You can literally just go to your welcome flow and see the conversion rate right now, and you can quickly estimate how much more money you will make, which is a lot. This can actually add extra 6 figures in your revenue by just fixing this, and you're not even spending any more on ads, which is the best thing ever and why it's so important. So this is the pop-up workflow that we follow for our clients, which you need to follow as well. So this right here is an email pop-up, and then we have 6 different A/B tests right here. These are the main ones, but then we have a lot more tests than these that we run as well. And then we mix and match these A/B tests between 3 different pop-ups. We find the winning pop-up, we connect it to your welcome flow. One thing to note is that you always need to make sure that you're running a pop-up A/B test, even when you're getting a really good pop-up conversion rate, because you can always test something different, you can always test something new and get an even better conversion rate. Now, the core idea of this whole video is that you need to A/B test your pop-ups, but you only need to focus on the highest leverage ones. See, changing just your font on the pop-up is not going to add to anything. It's not going to do anything because it's not a high leverage test. I'm going to show you the 4 highest leverage tests that are proven to work. But first, you want to know how to build a pop-up. Now, there are only 3 parts of building a really good pop-up. There should be a clear offer, you should be using direct copywriting, and then you should be using a contrasted design. We're going to be building one right now, and I'm going to show you how to do this. But here are a few examples. So if you just take a look right here, example number 1, want to save 10% off, very clear offer. They're not confusing you with anything, and they're using very direct copy because there are only 12 words being used. And then if you just see the design, this light green and this dark green, I mean, it's cyan, I think, but I don't know much about colors. But the point is they're using borders and everything to make it very easy for people to click on the call to action. Exactly what you want to do as well. This is the second example. If you just take a look right here, your offer should be very clear. Direct copy, again, 24 words, and they're also doing the same thing. White and dark blue, it just goes really well, and it just makes the headline and the call to action very visible, which is exactly what you need. So let's really quickly build this pop-up within Photoshop and then upload it to Klaviyo, and then we're going to be talking about the A/B test you need to run and then how to set up everything and how to get the 10% conversion rate. So let's get into it real quick. All right, so the first thing you want to do is open up your Photoshop or Figma. I'm going to be using Photoshop, but you can do this exact thing in Figma. And we want to focus on clear offer, direct copy, contrasted design. Remember, these are the 3 main things we want to focus on. So let's get into this real quick. The first thing you want to do is you want to just make sure that your width is 500 and your height could be anything. It does not matter. So for this, we're only going to go with 800 height, but make sure that your width is 500. All right, so now we want to add some color in the background. Now, of course, for this, I'm just going to go with a color scheme that I already have in mind, which is orange. But for instance, if we were to design this for Obvi, we would use their colors, of course. So make sure you know your brand's design palette and you just want to use those color palettes, okay? So we're going to be using a gradient tool. I'm going to go here, go to gradient real quick and just give it a different background. Okay, so this is the color we're going with for this example. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a headline. Now, remember, we need to use a clear offer. So the clear offer we're going to be using for this is 5% off. Just want to increase this. Let's make it say 5% off. Make it a little bit smaller, kind of like this. And add it like this in the center. I'm going to make it even more smaller, and I'll show you why after a bit. We're just going to go 5% off. We're going to go away, take it here. And we're going to leave space on the top because, again, height does not matter. We're going to focus on that later. The only thing that matters is the width. Okay, so I ended up changing the color a little bit and made it a little bit lighter so we have more contrast because, again, contrasted design. That's very important. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for people to see this, and it's right on their face, because we're going to let the offer do the selling. Now we need to add a form here where people are going to be putting their email address. Now, obviously it's going to be done in Klaviyo, but we're just going to keep this here so we know how the form should look like within Klaviyo. Make a rectangle and bring it here, and we're going to make it a little bit smaller so it looks kind of like this, and a little bit up here. And now we need to add a call to action. So for that, we're going to use the rectangle tool again, like this. We're going to make it smaller than the email form, and we're going to put it right here. We're going to change we're going to add some border here as well. So like, we're going to take this to 5. I'm going to say get 5% off. And we're going to make it a little bit bigger, kind of like this. So 5% off, put your email below to receive your discount, get 5% off. Now, obviously this is longer, so we can just make this shorter like this. That's why I was saying height does not matter. But let's say we need to make this pop-up a little bit more fancier, so it's more on brand, or if you just want to just make it fancy for whatever the reason is, what you can do is we can just take this like right up here, just like this. We can make this rectangle, take it up here, and let's just take it a little bit more up here so we have like a different color that we're working with. All right, so what we can do right here is now we can make this pop-up a little bit more advanced in terms of design. For that, we're going to be using this as a product. So let's say this is for a guitar brand, because we used to work with a guitar brand. All right, so to make this pop-up a little bit more advanced in terms of design, and adding a 3D look to it so it just looks more fancier, what I would do is I'd use the pen tool to create a 3D look. So I would go here, I would select it like this, and then I would make a curve kind of like this. And now I would just delete the upper section. I'll show you what I mean. Make selection, delete it. And then I would take this guitar, because this is like the main product for this brand, let's say, and I would bring it up here. And I would just keep it here and make this a little bit longer. So now what's gonna happen is when people will see this pop-up, half of this guitar is gonna be on this orange background and half of it will just be flying, which basically just means it'll create a 3D look. For anyone who knows design a little bit, it will just kind of create like a 3D look, you could say, and it's in the center. So we will just take this a little bit right here. So now we need to add this to Klaviyo. Let me show you how to do that real quick. And then we're going to be creating A/B testing variations of this exact pop-up, and then we're going to be uploading that to Klaviyo as well. So you know exactly, again, how to do all of this. Let's get into it. All right, so now we're in Klaviyo, and all you want to do is you want to go to sign up forms, and you want to click on create new form. We can name it whatever, so I'm just going to name it test 7. And this is where you choose the list. So make sure the list you choose is the one that you're intending to connect with your welcome flow. It's very important. And then you want to go to pop up here, save and design. And it's going to create you a scratch model, and you have to build from scratch now, which is exactly what we want, because we already have done it in Photoshop. So the first thing we want to do is we want to remove this text right here. We'll just keep the email field and the call to action. You want to go to add block, image. Let's bring it up here. And you want to go to Photoshop, and you want to save this image. Basically the way to export this, just by the way, if you're wondering, in Photoshop is you want to make it one file, and you want to cut all the way down till your subheader. Make sure you do not bring in this email field, because we are already going to have this in Klaviyo and we're going to build it there. So new, we go to save as, and then just save it as PNG, and it'll be done. So once you save it, you want to go to select image, upload image, select image again, and it's going to take a second to load, and it's going to look like this for now. We need to make some settings in Klaviyo. After that, it will be changed. So first of all, we're going to go to width, and we're going to make it 500, just like this. And another thing you want to do is we're just going to go back here, and right now, if you just notice, it looks very weird because there's a white background behind. And right now, if you take a look at this, it looks very weird. It's not aligned. There's a white background behind it and everything. So what you want to do to counter that is you want to go to styles, and here in the background color, you just want to make it transparent by clicking on this right here. And now it's just going to make the background transparent. And now we're also getting that 3D look, if you notice, with the guitar. So we're gonna go back here. So let's also change it to the desktop view. This is how it looks on desktop. This is how it looks on mobile right now. Now, if we go back to our original pop-up, you can just notice that there is a field option here. So we need to add that as well, right? But right now there has a transparent background. To fix that, you wanna go to email input and you wanna click on block background color. You wanna click on it and we wanna select the color here. Now the way to do that, make sure that the color is very consistent. You want to take a screenshot of this pop-up on Klaviyo, and we're going to be using this color as a color behind this background as well. Otherwise, it's going to look different. So we're going to bring it to Photoshop real quick, and you just want to select this right here exactly like that. Copy this color code and go back here, go to input, block background color, and we're going to press Ctrl V. Now you can see there's some spacing between these two. To fix that, we're going to go on the first image. We're going to change the padding to 0, and we're also going to change it to 0 from the right and left as well. So now this is just one form. Also, we also need to change the color of the background of this. To do that, you just want to select it, go to block background color again, press Ctrl V, and if we go back to our pop-up, you can see that the background of this button is white. So to do that, we're just going to go here and we'll just change this to white like this, and we're going to change the text as well to get 5% off, and we'll change this to black so it shows, because white on white is not going to show. And we're going to change the font as well. So we're going to be using pop-ins here. One thing you can do is you can import fonts on Klaviyo, so that way you'll be able to use this exact font within Klaviyo, but it's a little bit of a hassle, and there are a lot of videos on it. You can just go to YouTube and search it up. It takes a little bit longer. That's why I'm not going to add it in this video, but I will add another video in the description where you can see how to import it, and that way you'll be able to use the exact same fonts. But for this, we're only going to go with this for now. And after this, we want to make this a little bit smaller, just as you can see here. And we also need to add borders here. So to do that, you want to go to border style and go to solid, and border color is black, and we're just going to increase the thickness. So let's say we just take it to 4. But now we have to make it a little bit smaller. And to do that, we need to add some padding. So here in the block padding, if you just click on individual padding, now we have more options. So this is top, bottom, left, right. Now we're going to change this to 50 and 50 to see how it looks. Still looks a little bit longer than it should be. 70, 70, 80, 80. Let's just do 100, 100 and see how it looks. Okay. And we will need to make the text a little bit bigger. So to do that, we're going to go back up here and we'll just make it like this. So as you can see, it looks very identical to this, just the font is different, right? That's the only thing that's a little bit different as well. Now we need to change the form field, and we need to make it a little bit smaller as well. To do that, we're going to go back to block padding, just like the other one. We're going to change this to 10 to 10, and we'll see how it looks. It doesn't look as well. We'll change it to 50 and 50, and how does it look? It looks a lot better. Now one more thing we can do, by the way, is if you want to make the edges of this a little bit rounded, there is an option here where you go to corner radius, and if we just make it 40, for instance, you see how it looks, right? So if that's the look you want to go for, you can go for that as well. But for this, we're only going to go with this one. Now, this is how the pop-up is imported. One last thing I would want to do is we would want to make this smaller, because this is way too long. Now, one more thing I would want to do is make the exit button a little bit smaller, because the bigger it is, the easier it is for people to exit out of it. So we'll just make it like 15. You can even make it 10 if you want. So we'll just go with 10. And we can just make it black, kind of like that, right? So this is how it looks. Now the pop-up is done, okay? Now, of course, there has to be a success page here as well. In order to add something in the success page, now for the success page, I just made something on Photoshop just like this. And I went here to add blocks, went to image, and I uploaded it just like we uploaded the other one. And then I went here, changed this to 500. And we change the padding to 0, and this is just how it looks. So if you just see it on the phone, it looks like this. Oh, we need to delete this, one sec. Yeah, so on phone it looks like this, and if you go here, you see this pop-up, it looks like this. Now we need to look at the highest leverage A/B test real quick, and then we need to see how to import those on Klaviyo as well. So we make more variations of this, and so we have a lot of A/B tests that are running, and so we can get 10% conversion rate. All right, so now let me show you the 4 highest leverage A/B tests that you need to run, and these are the exact ones that we ran to take an email opt-in rate for a $1 million a month e-commerce brand from 10.3% to 17.2%. This made them hundreds of thousands of extra dollars without spending any more on ads, which is the best thing. So the first test you want to run, and this is a very important one, is a micro commitment pop-ups. Now these are exactly like your regular pop-up, but they have an additional yes or no step prior to asking for their email address. And the reason why this just works so well is because asking somebody to click on a yes or no button requires way less commitment than somebody giving you their email. So if you add this micro step before asking for their email address, they'll be more inclined to give you their email because it's called commitment and consistency. And the way it works is simple. You add a micro step, they click on yes, now they're more invested in it to give you their email, which is the best part. And you definitely need to run this test. The idea here is to, again, get a mini commitment before asking for a bigger one, and that this just works. So how do you set this up in Klaviyo, right? Which is the $1 million question. So you go to Klaviyo, right? And this is the pop-up we set up, our beautiful pop-up. We're going to change this really quickly. So what we want to do here is in a micro commitment pop-up, if you notice, there is a yes or no button before they're going to see this form, which means we need to add another step in this pop-up sequence. So you want to go to plus step and you want to click on blank step, and then it will create this. The reason why we just cut to this screen is because it takes some time to create this step. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to be going here. We're going to clone this and we're going to name this micro commitment, and we're going to hold this here and we'll take it here. So now they're first going to see the micro commitment, then they're going to see email opt-in, and then they'll see the success page. Okay, so for now, the micro commitment step, we need to change the headline from 5% off to want 5% off, and we need to change the subheader and we need to remove it, and they should only be able to see the two buttons that we want them to see, yes or no. So let's really quickly make that in Photoshop and then import it right here. All right, so I just made it in Photoshop and I literally did the exact same thing I showed you. I just changed the text and removed the subheader, and now this is how it looks. So we're going to delete this. And this is how it looks. Want to get 5% off, question mark. So now we need two buttons here. One of them needs to say yes, one of them needs to say no. So we're just gonna go here and we're gonna say yes, yes please, right? Now we need another button that says no, I don't want it, or no. And we need to make it the exact same style as a yes please one. So to do that, you just wanna go to button again, bring it right here, and you want to change it to white, and you want to make it no. The background block color is going to be the same one, and the background color needs to be white, and the no is going to be in black. I'm going to make it no. Now we need to add the border and we need to make it smaller. Okay, so I ended up making a few adjustments. We changed this to yes please and we changed this to no thanks, but if you look right here, this button's height is a little bit smaller than the upper one, and the way you change that is by going here, and this button's padding is more than the one above. So what this is going to do is we're getting them to click on yes please more than to click on no thanks, right? Another thing you can do, by the way, here is if we had like more contrasting colors, you could just make it a little bit grayish like this, so people are more drawn to clicking on the yes please one. This also works. Now one more thing you want to do is we need to add a little bit more filler below the pop-up. So right now if you look at it, it looks a little bit weird, right? And the easiest way to do that is go to block padding, go to individual padding on the bottom one, and just make it 20 or 30, like how much ever you want. And if we just go here real quick, you can see this is now looking pretty good. So what's going to happen? People are going to go to yes please. And the action here will be submit form, but don't worry about it. It's not going to like submit anything. And the after submit is going to be show next step. Okay, that make sure it's show next step. So after somebody clicks on yes please, goes to email opt-in. For no thanks, we just want to close form, just like it says here. And then email opt-in, this is what they're going to see afterwards. And one more thing we want to change is, well, actually no. So, and they're going to see this, and then after they see this, they're going to see this. So this is how to set up the first micro commitment A/B test, right? Hope it's clear and hope you understood it well. Now we need to go to the second step, which is dollars off versus percent off versus free shipping. Now you need to understand that different markets are going to respond to different offers, right? And if you just simply change the offer from 5% to $10 off, it can make a lot of difference if you test it out. And the way to do that is, say you have the data, right? Say you're offering 10% off right now and you know your average order value. So you can roughly equate that, let's say that 10% off roughly equates to about $20 off whenever somebody uses it, right? You can now go to your A/B testing and you can change 10% off to $20 off because it's literally the same thing, just worded differently, and it can have very different effects. Maybe 10% performs better than dollars off, right? Or maybe dollars off performs better than percent off. The only way you can tell is by testing. And even if you can increase your conversion rate by 1% by doing this, this is a big jump. And for all you folks who don't want to offer either any discount, what you can do is you can use free shipping at your certain threshold as the email opt-in offer as well. So you could just say, hey, get free shipping, and then in the subheader you can say add $100 or whatever your free shipping threshold is. And then that way you can still collect email addresses even though you're not offering discounts. Of course, the opt-in rate will be a little bit lower. That's what we normally see, but you will still have an offer that you can run in order to get people's emails. So this is what you need to do. Now, the way to do this again is you want to go back to Klaviyo, and let's say this right here is that offer, right? So what you want to do is you want to go to create A/B test, and it's going to create two variations. So copy one, copy two. You want to go to create test. And just by the way, when you're going to be building out these different pop-ups, you want to do it one at a time, right? But if you want to do multiple at a time, you want to make sure they are done in different windows. So you want to go back to Klaviyo, you want to go back to sign up forms, you want to go create form again, and you want to repeat the whole process again, right? For this video, I'm just going to stick with this because there's no point because we're not launching these, right? But anyways, so you want to go here and then you can see that it has created you two versions of A and B testing. So all you would want to do here is here, you want to go back to Photoshop and just rather than saying get 5% off, just like this says, you can say $20 off. Put your email below to receive your discount, right? It's the same exact thing. And for free shipping, all you want to do is you want to change this $5% off text to get free shipping. And below in the subheader, you'll just say add $50, add $100, or whatever you want to offer, right? It's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time. Now, the third test you want to run is regular pop-up versus full screen pop-up. Now, both of these work well, and it's a really good test. It always gives us really great results. Whenever we test this, we always see some significant change between these two. Full screen just covers the full screen, just like you see here. With the regular pop-up, it only covers the middle section and you can still see the background, okay? So that's the only difference. And in most cases, what we have seen is that full screen works better. But again, it's a test, right? You need to test this out. That's the whole point of this video. Now, the way to do this is you go to edit form. And one thing I forgot telling you is that you need to make the desktop and the mobile pop-up forms separately. So we need to make them in the separate windows. I'll show you exactly what I mean. But the way to do that is you just want to go to targeting and behavior. And here you just want to go to display. And here we're going to change this to desktop only for now. And then I'll show you how to do this for mobile as well. It's very easy. We'll just clone everything and we'll just go to targeting again and we'll make it mobile only. And when we're setting up targeting, it's a lot more easier when mobile and desktop are separate. So anyways, we're going to go here. And now that we have changed this to desktop only, you want to go to styles. And all you need to do is we need to go up here, change the form type, change it to full page, and it is done, right? Same thing with email opt-in. You want to go here. You don't want to do anything in Photoshop. Just all of this will be done on its own once you change one of these to full page. But this is just how you change it to full page. And again, if you need to run a test for this, I just showed you how to go and set up an A/B test. You need to go create an A/B test. And in one variation, it will be full screen. In the other one, it's going to be regular. It's super simple. Now, let's go on to the first A/B test, which is pop-up design structure. Now, there are only two design structures that we are using for our clients. Both are proven to convert at 10% plus. And even more importantly, we found that only these are the necessary ones, right? And this is how they look. You can get a template for them in the description. You can edit it in Photoshop or Figma. It is super simple. But basically, these are the two structures you want to test, right? This should be one, and then this should be the second one. If you see, there's an image on the left, there's text on the right. Make sure the text is, even if you can reduce the text on this, it will be a lot better. Image on the left basically just means it can be any design image, any image that basically really focuses more on your brand values or what. For instance, if you're a toy brand for kids, you can add an image here where a kid is playing with toys, right? So it just resonates more. You understand exactly what I'm saying, right? That is all you need to do. And I will again give you the templates for these in the description. They're very easily editable. I'll actually also make a video with these templates where you can just see exactly how to edit them, how I edit them, and how you can do that for your brand as well. Then you can just import it all onto Klaviyo. In fact, I'll also have the template for this pop-up in the description as well. So if you want to create the 3D look, just like this, be my guest, steal it. Anyways, this is the last test that I was talking about. Now, once you are done setting up all 4 of these tests, and of course you want to do it one by one. First, you want to test, go to the first test, you want to test regular pop-up versus micro commitment pop-up, just like here, right? You see the results, you wait about 3-4 days, then you test the other one. Again, you would, not 3-4 days, I would say like a week, but within the 3-4 days, you'll be able to see how it all goes, right? And of course, it all depends on the traffic, but within the first 3 to 4 days, you'll be able to predict how it's going to go. Within a week, you'll be able to see the data. And if it's a little bit more competitive, you can also wait 2 weeks as well. Typically, we wait about 15 days, but within a week, we have a clear idea of how it's going to perform. We actually, because we've just done it for so many clients at this point, we just already know, we predict it, right? So then you want to test this right here, then you want to test this right here, and then you want to test different design structures, and you want to start setting up these A/B tests. The last thing I want to show you before I go is how to do this exact thing for desktop as well. So I'm going to go to test 7 mobile, you'll clone it, you'll name it test 7 desktop, and then you'll go to targeting and behavior, and we're going to make this mobile only because this was desktop, right? If I'm not wrong. I messed up the names a little bit, but yeah. Basically, the point is simple. One of them is going to be desktop only, one's going to be mobile only. It's going to be a lot easier to track data and also make adjustments whenever you want, right? So this is how to set up all these A/B tests. All right, so now everything is done. We only want to look at targeting and display settings. It's again very simple. If you've done everything correct at this point, if you've made the pop-up exactly like I showed you, then targeting and behavior will just support the pop-up, right? It's not going to add anything to it. So what you want to do is, first of all, it will say immediately you want to go to based on rules. The reason why you don't want to do immediate is because it just hurts your website conversion rate. You want to go to based on rules, and in the select rules, you want to go here to after time delay. Now, you can also do when visitor is exiting the page, which basically just means as soon as they're about to leave the page, they'll see the pop-up then. We don't really go for that. You can always have a different type of pop-up. You can make a new pop-up with a different offer for exit intent, people who are about to leave your website. But typically we just go with regular pop-ups. So you want to go to after time delay, and here it works really well between 7 to 15 seconds. We can just make this 10, it's fine, right? It's not going to be destructive, right? One thing you can do, by the way, is if you have data on for how long on average people stay on your website for, you can just use that data and then you can change the number here. Then below here, if this is frequency, again, basically if somebody comes to your website, they see the pop-up, they exit out, how many days should Klaviyo wait before it shows them the pop-up again when they visit your website? So again, people don't really get pissed off even if it's 5 days, right? We don't really, it doesn't really make a big difference. You can keep this at 10 again, totally fine. Now here, again, this is only for desktop only. You're going to go to mobile and then you're going to change it as well. One more thing you want to know is on mobile, you cannot use exit intent, just by the way, because there's no way mobile can track when somebody's about to leave your website. On desktop, they can see your cursor, right? So your computer can detect the cursor here, or the Klaviyo can detect the cursor, which is about to leave the website. So then they, show you the pop-up. On mobile, there's no way to do that. So you cannot use exit intent on mobile, just by the way. And this is pretty much for display. Then you want to go to targeting. You want to make sure this is selected to don't show to existing Klaviyo profiles. Now, in some cases, you would want people to see your pop-up even if they're in your website. And for instance, if you have VIP subscribers and you're running some pop-up offer for them, right? You can just go here and you can go to show to specific profiles in a list or segment, and you can select your VIP customers here. Only they will be able to see that pop-up. But for this video, we're not doing that. For URLs, again, you want to go to don't show on certain URLs if you don't want people to see your pop-up on, let's say, your cart page or checkout page, your blog pages, wherever you don't want them to see the pop-up, you just put all of that in here, right? So it's a good practice to add cart and checkout here because, well, why would you want them to see that, right? When they're about to click on the checkout. So in UTM parameters, again, you don't really want to mess with this unless you know what you're doing. You would know exactly what UTM parameter is if you're using them. So you'll know what this means. For location, you don't really want to do this either. And this is pretty much it, right? So after this, you can just take your pop-up live by going to continue test settings and then launching the pop-up. And this is pretty much it, right? Again, if you've done everything well at this point, targeting and behavior, it's just something to set the rules, right? It's not gonna impact the conversions as much. Of course, if you change it from immediate and all of that stuff, of course, it's going to make a difference. But if you just focus on what I showed you, this is perfect. You won't need anything else. And you can find the templates for all the pop-ups that I showed you in this video in the description below if you want them. So you can just edit them and make them your own, change the color a little bit. But anyways, hope you found a lot of value from this video. I'm going to be making a lot more videos like this. Stay tuned.